Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, September 21st edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. I'm joined by my co-host here on Monday and Tuesdays at MMAOddsbreaker.com, Mr. Big Marcel. What's up, man?
Hi, what's up, man? I'm pretty happy. I don't know why, but looking forward to break this card down with you.
So am I.
Yeah.
It's a good card. We got 14 fights to talk about. One of the fights is kind of in the air right now. I'll just mention off the top. Nasrat Haqparast. You thought Dan Hooker was the guy who couldn't get the visa. Now Nasrat's having the same issue as his opponent. He was in LA. He went home to Germany where his mother just passed away last week for the funeral. And now he's having an issue getting back to North America. So I'm crossing my fingers this fight still happens, Marcel, but there is a chance this fight might get scrapped. I really hope it doesn't get scrapped. That would be so bad for both guys.
I mean, I hear people say maybe you can reschedule it. The thing is, but with Hooker, he's from New Zealand. It's horrible. Nasrat is actually from Germany. So it's horrible, This fight has to take place. It's the better for both of those two guys to fight on Saturday, So let it please happen.
Let's just all cross our fingers and hope this fight takes place.
Yeah.
Alex is here. Hey, Alex, what's up, man? Just checking in.
What's up, Alex?
Glad to see you, Alex. I just want to give my mom a shout out. It's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Mom. So I want to give her a shout out here too, Marcel.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks, man. We got 14 fights to talk about today, Marcel. So a pretty, big card to talk about. And then we're also going to talk about Dana White's Contender Series at the end. We'll just touch on that briefly, but obviously the bulk of today will be focused on UFC. And we'll just get right into it, Marcel. Let's start with the first fight, move our way down. I'm going to use, again, guys, UFC stats. That is the bout order we'll be using for this card. In case you're wondering what the order I'm using is, that's what I'm using. First fight of the night, according to UFC stats, Jonathan Pierce taking on Omar Morris in the UFC featherweight division. Right now we have Omar Morris is the slight favorite, minus 150. Jonathan Pierce, plus 130. What do you think?
Yeah, this is actually a fun fight in my opinion because it's like I seem very decisive. People are very decisive on this fight, and I'm actually not, man. I think it's a pretty close fight. If you look at Omar Morris, man, he's training at Sanford, I think, right? And that's your favorite gym. We got to mention it. It's
that in American Top Team are like 1A and 1B, and they're both in Florida, but those gyms
are those are really great. I agree. If you look, last time he beat Shane Young. Shane Young, super tough guy. We all know that from New Zealand with the stare on the ha. He always does. Morales has looked good so far in the UFC, man. Despite his fight against Giga Chikadze, where he got knocked down a few times, but he lost a unanimous decision. And we saw Giga how good he has become, man. So it's not even a bad loss to have on your record right now, I remember he came into the Contender Series. He fought Harvey Park. He was a pretty underdog in that fight. Harvey Park was LFA champion, and he knocked him out the second round. Has been looked pretty decent in the UFC. If you look at Jonathan Pierce, he came also from the Contender Series where he defeated Jacob Rosales, who is actually fighting tonight for a contract in the Contender Series. Then he lost to Joe Lozon, which was kind of alarming to me. It was like Joe Lozon 2019. I mean. But yeah, he won against Kai Kamaka last time, and Kai Kamaka is a guy I'm pretty high on. Although he went 1-3, I think 1-3 in the UFC, right? Or was it? No, it was 1-2-1. I think that was with it, and they shouldn't have been cut, in my opinion. But hey, it happens, because the UFC sucks sometimes. And but it was a good fight for Pierce. And the thing is here, I think it would be a really close fight. I slightly favor Morales in this fight, but it's only slightly. I think Pierce can win this fight as well. It's not as clear cut as everybody has it. I think, like I saw online, like 80% had Morales winning, 20% had Pierce. So I was kind of shocked with that. I think it's pretty close. I'm going with Omar Morales. I'm taking him via decision, but I wouldn't bet my money on it.
You know what? I actually feel pretty similar to you about this fight, Marcel. My lean would be towards Morales. Obviously, he's looked good in the UFC. I mean, he has. Good striker. Pretty good takedown defense, as we've seen as well. So he should be able to keep this fight standing. And I do think he's the better striker than Jonathan Pierce. But Jonathan Pierce is probably the better grappler. So if he gets this fight to the ground, he can make it interesting. I'm just kind of banking on Omar's takedown defense to be good enough to keep it standing for the pick here. But the thing about Omar is he's almost 36, Marcel. He's not young. You know what I mean? That's the worry I have with this guy. So it's like, I think he's looked good, but I think he's got to make a run now for the top 15 if he wants to do it. And I don't think fighting a guy like Jonathan Pierce is going to get him there. So, he has to win this fight, obviously, to even get a ranked opponent. But if they're age 35 to maybe 36, he's going to have to start making a run now. I think he probably wins this fight by decision. But again, Pierce has a good ground game, guys. Very, very good. So he gets his fight to the ground, he can control it, he could win. But again, Marcel, I just look at the fight Joe Lozon, and I wonder about this guy's
same.
Yeah. I just can't.
Exactly
I can't believe he lost that fight. That was one of the bigger surprises to me in the last couple of years. I just like the corpse of Joe Lozon knocks this guy out. So how can you pick this guy really when he gets KO'd by Lozon? At the same time, though, it is a different matchup, a different fight. We'll see. But I think Morales' takedown defense will be good enough to keep it standing and outstrike this guy and win a decision. That's what I'm thinking. When we get these, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Morales really has. Probably no disrespect, but kind of the worst nickname in MMA, man.
Venezuelan fighter, yeah, it's not the greatest. And quite frankly, I don't think he's the most exciting guy either. Like, I don't hate watching him fight. He's a striker, but he's a very like low-paced striker, though. He's not really a high action guy. So, he's a decent fighter. I think he wins, but I'm just saying I don't think he's the most exciting guy.
I guess also his ground game. I mean, he trains at Sanford. He has great.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he should have a good enough wrestling game now that he can win this fight. But again, Pierce is a young guy. He's training and fight ready. I'm just saying, you got to look at it from both sides. You can't just look at one guy. You got to look at both. And Pierce is decent. The only thing is, though, I think the UFC almost like punished him in a way for turning down that fight against Benitez, the short notice one. They're like, you're going to fight the guy who beat Benitez. You're going to fight Morales now, the even harder fight. So, anyways, let me take these comments, guys. Born Against his reschedule Hooker to headline next week's Contender series if necessary. That's hilarious. It'd be awesome. I don't know if they can do it, but UFC should take Arrow's advice, make Hooker versus Nakprast open weight. Should just be like a catch weight, I think. That's what he said, catch weight.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that 160, 165. That sounds fair.
If they both agree on it, why not?
Yeah, exactly. I think 160 would be fine. Even if they just wanted to do it at 170, I don't think it'd matter. Board again, you can't reschedule otherwise. Yeah, exactly. Hooker's in a bad spot. He's got to fight. The thing is, like, even if Nasrat can't fight, I'm sure they can find someone in Vegas that can take this fight on short notice. I don't know if that person would make weight. I don't think they'd be a good opponent. They'd be someone who's probably a newcomer to the UFC. But
I know McKinney said, I want to fight.
Terrence wants to fight? Yeah, he's at Contender Series tonight. I saw his tweet today. He's in Vegas right now. He wants that fight. That would be sick. And you know what? Terrence could win that fight. He's that good, I think. That kid is very good. But again, I'm just crossing my fingers that they do hack Prost and Hooker. We'll talk about that
for sure.
Forrest says last week Sakai. He was talking about Sakai. He was saying that he posted something. He's going to come back. You heard about anything with that or no?
I know. Also, Hansucker today posted a fight contract signed. So,
good for him. I'm glad he didn't get another fight because I remember he got knocked out by Ty in short notice, and they took him out of the fan rankings the next day or something, and assumed that he got cut. But I guess they're giving him another shot, which I think he deserves it. It's not fair to bring a guy in for one fight on short notice, and then don't bring him back. That's just not right. Like, that's not fair. And I'm not saying the UFC is about being fair. It's not. But why would you sign with them on short notice? They're going to do that to you. All right, let's get to the next fight here. We got a welterweight bout between Matthew Semelsberger and UFC newcomer Martin Sano Jr. I got to be honest, guys. I didn't know a ton about Martin Sano Jr., but I did my research for him for this fight, for this card. Also, Cole interviewed him, so if you want to check out Cole's interview, then you get to learn a little bit more about the Nick Diaz Team Academy member. All right, let's talk about this fight, Marcel. Right now, Semelsberger is one of the biggest favorites in the card, minus 485, plus 385 for Martin Sano Jr. I got to be honest, man. I really like Semelsberger. You guys know I do. I just feel like this line seems a little high. Like, it's a little disrespectful towards Sano. And I get Sano hasn't fought in a while, and he's coming off a 3-fight winless streak, a draw and 2 losses. That does seem a little high, though, considering Semelsberger just lost his last fight. It's not like this guy's undefeated either. So give me your thoughts on this matchup, man. What do you think about the fight and the odds?
I mean, by the way, this is another missed opportunity for a great nickname, man. Martin N. Sano would be so great, just like Nathaniel the Prospect would, Nathaniel Morning would be so amazing, That's what I would do if my name was Wood. But hey, who am I? If you look at Matthew Semelsberger, sorry, I had to say it. You know how crazy sometimes. He did great against Carlton Minus in his UFC debut, but we got to be honest, Carlton Minus wasn't really a UFC caliber fighter, and no disrespect to Minus. After that, he knocked out Jason Witt. I think you called that he would knock him out early in the fight. So good, props to you for that. The Chaos Williams fight, I think it was a competitive fight. I think Chaos won that fight clearly, but it was a competitive fight. If you look at Martin Sano, let's be honest, he got signed because he's Nick Diaz's training partner. That's why he got signed.
Even told Cole that. Cole talked about that in the podcast last week.
Yeah, he went 3-0 or 4-0 in the beginning of his career. Even have a win via submission over Jeff Neal, which is a big win. Now I know back in the day, 2013, both guys were really well known. It was also in the regional circuit. Dude hasn't won since 2014 and hasn't fought since 2017, man. Well, is he getting better in the gym? Did he train a lot? Does he train a lot with Nate? Does he sharpen his tools what he already had? We have no idea, to be really honest.
Yep. Yep.
And Samuelsberger has been active, has been looking decent. I think the Chaos Williams fight wasn't really that good, but those other two fights were very, very good from him. So for me, it's like, I can't pick Sano here. You know what I mean? I don't know too much about him, how he fights right now. We have to see it on Saturday, how he fights. Maybe I'm completely off on this one. I'm taking Samuelsberger, and I honestly expect Samuelsberger to stop the fight as well. I get Matthew Samuelsberger via TKO in the second round. I think he will win.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with Sano. So there are a couple fights you can watch from him. They're on YouTube. One of them, he drops this guy, and referee Kerry Hatley stopped it like as soon as the guy fell to the ground. It was a horrible stoppage. So he has a knockout win over this guy, Billy Colon, that he doesn't deserve. He does have a submission win over Jeff Neal. So that's good to know. I couldn't find that fight. If anyone found that fight, let me know. I'd like to watch it. I couldn't find it anywhere, but that is a good win. He does have a win in LFA. And then since then, got out-wrestled by Dom Waters. That fight's on YouTube. You can watch it. The Don Muhammad fight in Bellator, where he got KO'd in a minute. I couldn't find it, but I did watch the Diego Herzog fight, majority decision, boring fight. I don't know what to think about this guy. I mean, the question is, he's been away for 4 years, so has he gotten better in this 4 years? That's the question, right? Has he been sharpening those tools? Has he been training hard? I'd like to think that he's gotten better. There's a reason why Nick Diaz was telling the matchmaker to sign him, but until I see him do that, how can I pick him in a fight, right? So I'm going to pick Samuelsberger here, but I do think the odds are a little high. I mean, minus 485 seems a little excessive for a guy coming off a loss in Samuelsberger. And Samuelsberger is a decent fighter. I've scouted him a lot now because of the fight with Wade in Minus. So I've seen a lot of his fights. He's a decent fighter, but he's been finished before, guys. It's not like he hasn't been. So, like I said, I'm going to go with Samuelsberger, but I don't think that the odds are very good here, minus 45. That seems pretty high.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, one sec. Born against his nose tough, has okay grappling, but very athletic, terrible striking offense defense. I pretty much agree with that too. Decent grappler, obviously, and that's about it. What are you going to say?
If some fighters watching that or promotions or whatever, make sure you have a decent picture of yourself, a portrait picture, an action picture, on the internet when you're starting, because from some fighters, Martin Sano, very hard to find a picture of him. Nick Maximov, same thing, hard to find a good picture of him,
Let's go to their Instagrams. They have some.
Yeah, I do,
Okay.
But it's still like this or this or this, you know what I mean? I want to, my fight announcement pictures. I want a clear picture. You know what I mean? So, and it only makes it a better thing. If people see a good picture of you. You know what I mean?
Agree.
So, it's just completely doesn't have anything to do with this here with the podcast. But I wanted to say that because I think
here's the picture you should use for Martin. Here's the picture. Okay, that's the one you're going to use for him from now on. Martin Sano gets signed by Dana White. That was at UFC 261. All right, let's go to the next fight here. So we both picking Samuelsberger, obviously. Let's go to the next fight here, guys. Next one, Nick Maximov, excuse me. It's Carl Roberson. So this is the fight that Marcel just alluded to. Pick 'em odds, guys. Minus 110 each. Very close fight, competitive fight. What are you thinking here, Marcel? Carl Roberson or UFC newcomer Nick Maximov, teammate of Nick and Nate Diaz?
Yeah, Maximov, another guy from the Diaz camp. Maximov, he's pretty much he's a BJJ guy, right? He does a lot of submission underground. He's fighting there. He's still undefeated. Came from the Contender series where I fought, I think, at heavyweight on short notice, and he defeated Oscar Coda there. That's also. Did he actually get signed off that fight? I think he didn't.
He didn't get signed. He got like a tryout or something, or developmental deal, I think. And actually, what it was. They said he was going to go on tough. That's what they said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was it. He didn't go on tough. Yeah. So now he's fighting Carl Roberson. The thing with Carl Roberson is I think he's an okay fighter, but when he gets better competition, he doesn't really show up, in my opinion. I was still impressed with his win over Kopilov because I think he was a pretty big. I think he was an underdog there, if I can remember. I think Kopilov was coming from Russia. He was a big deal. Undefeated guy, fighting as global champion, former. And he defeated him, submission, third round. Before that, determined fight, split decision. That was kind of a close fight. I mean, I think if the fight hits the ground, I think Roberson might be in trouble, man, against Maximov, and I expect the fight to hit the ground either first or second round. And I guess Maximov can finish him. So I'm going with Nick Maximov here, winning this fight
There you go.
Submission, second round.
What kind of submission? You could pick it. What are you thinking?
I'm going just with a rear naked choke. I think he takes his back.
Yeah, let me get this. Borg says, remember Nakov's boy fighting the 202 prelims. That guy's name's Chris Avila. He's actually fighting for North Iowa Fights, which is a regional promotion that I cover for Spectation Sports. He just fought in the card last month, the Zach Otter card he won. So he's up to 8-9 in his career. He's not 500 yet, but he's getting there. Matt, what's up, man? Robertson's ground game's a little rough. Maxwell by myself. Someone said that yesterday. So, so I did my own research on the fight. So there's a website. I can't remember his name, but the guy used to have a Twitter. He just got rid of it. His name's like Honky Tonk or something on Twitter. You know the guy? He posts all the videos and stuff. Humongous something. He has a website. You can watch Nick Maximov's fights on his website. He has them.
Lord Humongous.
Yes, that guy. But he's gone now on Twitter. His Twitter's gone.
Are you kidding me?
No, it is. I'm not joking. So he does have his website. It's called the Combat Tribune or something. They have a lot of GIFs and stuff. I recommend that website, guys, because if you're doing deep research like I do, you want to see like everything you can. So Nick Maximov, a lot of his early fights are on there. So I watched all his finishes anyways. And I will say about this guy, he has a phenomenal ground game. And the thing about him is he has the wrestling too to get it there. He's a bulldog, Marcel. He's a pressure-based fighter. He'll go forward and get you to the ground. And every single fight he's been in, he's got his opponent to the ground. So here's the thing. He's making his debut in the UFC. Against the guy on Roberson who has 8 fights, I believe, in the UFC. That's a lot of experience in the UFC. But Roberson has no submission defense at all, Marcel. 4 submission losses in his career. Now, I do know that Carl's training at Glory right now with James Krause, and he says he's really working hard on his takedown defense and everything, but I don't think he'll be good enough yet, man. I think, the ground game's just not there, and Nick Maximov is not a guy that's going to gas out. He's a guy that's going to have 15 minutes of cardio, and he's going to keep pushing that pace. And we saw against Kota, he was able to hold a bigger man to the ground, Marcel, heavyweight. That fight was a heavyweight for 15 minutes. I'm convinced he can get Carl Roberson down. I like him in this fight. I do like Nick Maximov in this fight. Roberson's a decent fighter overall. I mean, he's obviously a Glory kickboxing guy. He comes in with a striking background, but I don't think his ground game's caught up to his striking. I really don't. And I think that Maximov by sub is definitely worth a look here. I don't know if there's odds for that yet. Maximov, but inside a distance, just look at. I'd rather just take him straight because you never know if he just wins a decision. But I like Maximov. I'm with you on this one, Marcel.
You really make me sad, man. I see that Honky Tonk Man is gone now.
I know. Borgen's asking what happened. Did he speak wrong? Think that's funny. Not sure, man. The guy had a good Twitter. The only thing I can think is maybe he has another account now, and he's another guy because there's a lot of people that post the GIFs. They're like, and they get rid of their account after a year, and they get a new one. You know what I mean, Marcel? Like, I'm not sure, but anyways, that guy's a good website that's worth checking out if you want to watch. Like a lot of guys that are in the UFC that you can't find their fights. He has a lot of like archival fights and stuff, so it's cool. Anyways,
or he got flagged for posting stuff.
That's the thing. Could have posted like copyrighted material.
But I really hate that, man. I always like when actually for the regional. I saw that with regional promotions as well.
Yeah,
you can also be happy that people are talking about your promotion and give it more attention, And if you don't like it, DM the person. It's like, please don't do this anymore. But you're immediately gonna try to ban them. Just sucks, man. That's why I almost never post UFC videos or whatever.
Here's the website, by the way. If you guys want, this is a website used for GIFs and stuff. So it's Combat Sports Tribune. Again, the guy he got rid of his Twitter, but first, if you type in Maximov, like I did, all his finishes are here from all his fights. And again, all these fights he gets his opponent to the ground in, literally. So I think he can do it in this fight. I'm just giving you guys some, heads up. I'm sure some of you guys have seen that anyways. Let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. Manon Fiorot against Mayra Bueno Silva women's flyweight fight. And Fiorot is a pretty big favorite, minus 245, plus 205 for Silva. What do you think's going to happen in this one?
This is actually a super tricky fight, man, because we got Manon Fiorot, who is very good in the striking, but Mayra Bueno Silva has a very good ground game, in my opinion, She can test Fiorot on the ground, and I don't know how good Fiorot is really on the ground against a girl who is pretty decent and pretty good on the ground. Stand-up, Fiorot won't have any trouble with the Bueno Silva, I think. I really like Fiorot, in my opinion. I've been a fan of Fiorot even before she was in the UFC. I followed her for a long time since I saw her first fight in Cage Warriors, where she lost a split decision against Leah McCourt. A fight she won, in my opinion. She didn't lose that fight, but hey, man, whatever. She looked good in both her UFC fights. Both got finishes in the second round against Victoria Leonardo and Tabata Ricci. Ricci obviously fighting in a higher weight class than she normally does. If you look at Mayra Bueno Silva, has looked decent in the UFC so far. One loss against Marina Roros that I actually didn't expect it. Montana De La Rosa and majority Dora. She won the fights I expected her to win against Borella. The Roberson fight, she actually was losing until she got that armbar late in round one. So she didn't look decent at all in that fight either, but she got the win. If Fiorot can keep it standing, she can keep her distance and doesn't get to take it to the ground, she will have her way with Mayra Bueno Silva, I think. If that doesn't happen, Mayra Bueno Silva can take her down on several occasions. She can win a decision. So I'm going with Fiorot. I'm going with a finish in the third round this time via TKO. If she doesn't get the TKO and if she gets the difficulties with getting her, if Bueno Silva gets her to the ground, she'll have a very difficult time, I think. So I think the odds are a little bit too how do you say that?
Loaded, maybe just too high.
Too high, yeah, in my opinion. I understand why the odds are too high, because Fiorot has a lot of hype, and I think the hype is okay, but you got to also watch which kind of opponent you fight next. And Bueno Silva can be a very tough opponent for her, in my opinion. So still going with Fiorot, but I'm not sure, man. You can pretty much see after 3 minutes how this fight is going to go, in my opinion. So, yeah.
That's fair. By the way, I forgot to say, Jose said that Maxwell was the best prospect, in his opinion, from Diaz camp. I kind of agree with that, too. From what I've seen, he's better than Santo. He's better than Chris Avila. I don't know who else they have there, but he's better than those guys. So I'd say he's very good. What Silva I saw, plus 900, I just checked. Fiorot, hype traded, no breaks. Fiorot for the win. I like Fiorot in this fight, too. I like Silva, man, and I bet on her against De La Rosa, and she was winning that fight, got caught for a cage grab, and had the point deducted, which always hurts. Just like that guy, Haile Alatang last week. Same thing. I bet on this guy. He was winning and grabbed the cage, got a point taken. But you can't grab the fence, so it happens. But here's the thing. So Silva, it is a striker grappler fight, in my opinion. I'm with you, Marcel, because her grappling is nasty. I mean, she has good submission skills. We saw it in Contender Series with the ninja choke. We saw it against Roberson, Jillian Robertson. We've seen it a few other times. Good grappling. But, again, gets taken down a lot. And you know what? Fiorot, one of the things I was watching for was her offensive wrestling. It's not bad. Like, she does actually have some wrestling herself. Defensively, against Leah McCourt, she was taken down in that fight. In her first fight, she was. But she also did a lot of work in that fight, too. So she's constantly working. Even if you got her to the ground, she was constantly working. That was her first fight. She's a little bit into her career now, right? She's looked phenomenal in the UFC. I can't pick against Manon Fiorot. I can't do it, Marcel. I think she's called the Beast for a reason. I think she is a beast. Her striking is phenomenal. I think she gets the job done here. Silva's tough, though, so I don't know if she'll finish her or not, but I expect her to win either way, either decision or maybe a knockout. But Fiorot's looked amazing lately, and I'm not getting off the hype train right now either. Tristan, I agree with you. I thought she did win. Was it 3 rounds? I think, and then minus the point deduction, she should have won 29-27, but 28-28 doesn't really matter. It was a close fight. You can't grab the fence. You get a point taken away, just like Alatang last week. All right, go to the next fight here. This one's a fun one. My boy Al Zulino at BJ Penn broke this one. Marcel Euros Medic against Jalen Turner. Great fight here and close odds, minus 120 for Euros Medic, plus 100 for Jalen Turner. What do you think?
Al Zulino, is that the guy that loves pineapple on pizza, right?
That's the guy, the weirdo. Just kidding.
I gotta let him watch this. He'll love this. I mean, Euros Medic, dude. This is a guy from Alaska FC, which I'm pretty high on, man. Actually, this guy is not nasty, but he's nasty. You know what I mean? He has really nasty striking, in my opinion. He defeated Elon Cruz in his UFC debut, but before that, in the Contender Series, he looked very good against Mikey Gonzalez as well. He's fighting Jalen Turner. We all know Jalen Turner did look very well in the Contender Series against Max Mastaki, but Max got a broken foot. Fight got stopped. Didn't get signed. Then got signed on short notice. Fought Vicente Luque. did well in the first 2 minutes, but then got stopped. After that, looked pretty decent, man. But against, gotta be honest, against mediocre competition, he looked decent, And same goes actually for Medic, but Medic, in my opinion, has. I'm more impressed by him. I think he's nasty with his punches, with his kicks, with his combos at all. He's very nasty. And I think Jalen Turner is a good fighter, but I don't see him. Winning against Medic, to be really honest. I also think Medic can win this. Can beat him by stoppage here, man. I've never been so many. I'm always safe with decisions, but I'm going with another finish here, man. I take Medic again. I take him via TKO in the third round.
Yeah, I don't think you're really going too crazy there by saying it's going to finish this fight. I think there is too. I am actually. Matt's asking if you're drinking clear Canadian. I am. So they just basically brought these back out apparently, like recently, or is it? And I got some. My sister bought them for my birthday, so this is my second case now. I'm going through them. They're delicious. Tristan says both these guys are massive lightweights. They sure are. Jalen's 6'3" and Manage is 6'1", I think. He used to be a welterweight Manage. Fight ends in KO. I think so. I think someone gets knocked out in this fight. They're both strikers. They both like to stand and bang. Both guys are very dangerous on the feet. I'm high on both guys, honestly, Marcel. I think they're both really good fighters. I'm huge on Medic. I love this kid. He's phenomenal. The only good fighters ever come out of Alaska FC, I would say. But seriously, he's been phenomenal. He looked amazing on Contender Series last year. I bet on him against Elon Cruz. Did not disappoint me. By the way, that was a super late stoppage in that fight. That was like 40 punches too late. Super late. But the guy's been amazing. He's been incredible, Marcel. It's just that really hasn't fought good competition, right? So it's hard to know how good he really is. But I think he's good. He's training at King's MMA. He's training with Cordero. I think that's a good gym. Having said that, Turner does have more experience in UFC, 5-2 now. And striking-wise, he is fucking dangerous as hell on the feet, guys. Like, he's super dangerous. A lot of knockdown power. But I got some issues with Turner. Number one, I don't think his chin is that good. We saw against Luque, got absolutely destroyed. And I understand Luque does it to a lot of people, but it was not just Luque, unfortunately. He's been knocked out like 3 or 4 times in his career, guys, before he was in the UFC. So he's a young guy who's been knocked out a lot. I don't like that. Also, wrestling defensively is not very good. We saw against Matt Frevelo got taken down. In this particular matchup, I don't think Medic will shoot for takedowns, but it is something to keep in mind going forward if he fights a wrestler. I think this is a close fight. I think the odds are actually really fair here. I think that Medic should be a slight favorite, but only slight. So I'm leaning towards Medic, Marcel, but I will say that, man, Turner's dangerous, guys, and he's got these nasty kicks from range. He has a 6-inch reach advantage. So as big as Medic is, Turner's big too. Elon Cruz was big as well and had a bad chin, and that's what I think is happening here too with Turner. Big guy, talented, bad chin. So I think Medic will put him out. But again, Medic, there are some question marks, Marcel, with the cardio and a bunch of other stuff. And Kevin says, Cannier's out of Alaska FC. You're 100% right, Kevin. Marcel, you're wrong. But Cannier hasn't fought there in like 8 years. You say he's the only guy from Alaska that's good, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Cannier's still good too.
I actually meant the only recent more signing from Alaska, which is good. But you're completely correct. I misspoke how I said it. So yeah.
All right, let's go to the next fight here.
By the way, what flavor are you drinking?
This is a cherry flavor. It's not bad. I like the blackberry flavor better. I got 2 cases. Like they used to have these when I was a kid. I just recently realized that they brought them back, and got them for my birthday, so I'm happy.
Nice.
Let's go to this fight. Roxanne Modafferi versus Tyla Santos, the women's flyweight division. And the odds for this one, Santos is a big favorite here, -380, +315 for Roxanne Modafferi. I want to hear your thoughts on this fight, Marcel, then I'll give my thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, Roxanne Modafferi has to fight another prospect, upcoming fighter, and she has done well against those, She did well against Antonina Shevchenko. She did well against Macy Barber, against Andrea Lee twice actually. This time, the challenger isn't undefeated. Let me put it that way. She lost 1 fight in the UFC. I keep saying this every time we talk about Tyla Santos. That wasn't Tyla, but that was her twin sister that night against Mara Romero Barala, because that was a clear unanimous decision for Mara, I think. And I was really like, wow, man, this is actually, she didn't look good in that. Then she completely took over against Molly McCann, and she looked amazing against Jillian Robertson, in my opinion. So, and now fighting Modafferi. Listen, man, the Modafferi is always tough, always dangerous. She's pretty decent. Our standing not that great, but their ground game is good. You know what I mean? And but gotta be honest here, man. I don't see listen, if Tyla Santos shows up, the Tyla Santos of the last 2 fights, she will beat Modafferi. If the Tyla Santos that fought against Mauro Romero Borella showed up, Roxanne Modafferi likely wins the fight. But I guess Tyla Santos is going to show up in this one. There's a big chance for her as well to get into the top 10 or in the top 8, actually, I think even. I'm taking Tyla Santos here, man. Will she defeat or will she finish Roxanne Modafferi? It's very possible, man. Maybe a TKO second round or a decision. Either a TKO late in the fight, second round, third round, or a decision. But definitely on Tyla Santos in this one, man.
So Tyla Santos is someone I bet on her last couple of fights. I made some money on her, including the Molly McCann fight, which Tristan says people are reeling from that loss. I liked her in that fight. I liked her against Roberson too. Now, I assumed I was going to like her in this fight. I assumed that. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm watching their fights again, you're going to think I'm fucking crazy here, Marcel. I think Roxanne can win this fight, and I'm going to explain why I think she can win. Because the ground is her world. The ground game is Roxanne's world. And she's proven time and time again that you cannot counter her as an underdog. And I have countered her out I'm literally looking at her record now. She's had 10 fights in the UFC, Marcel. I've picked against her every single time. So the 4 wins that she had, I lost on those fights. And she was a big underdog in all those fights. Huge underdog. She's always counted out. I always count her out. I actually think she should win this fight because it's going to take place probably on the ground where Roxanne is dangerous. She's on the ground. She's very dangerous. I know Santos is a lot younger. You guys know I always pick the younger fighter and everything. But again, you got to look at the odds too. And in this case, Roxanne's plus 315. That seems really, really high to me because Santos opened at minus 225. So she's ballooned up to almost minus 400 now, basically double what she opened at. It's just a lot of disrespect for and towards Roxanne. I get it. Again, every time she's fights, she's an underdog. But again, Marcel, you look at Barber. She won as an underdog. Shevchenko, Andrea Lee twice. Barb Honchak as well. And what's the other fight? I think that's it in the UFC. So like 4 times in the UFC, she's won as an underdog. She's been an underdog, I think, every single fight of her career, basically, in the UFC. It's crazy.
Also outside of the UFC.
And outside the UFC. Like, I've never really respected her game. I'm just being honest. Like, I've always, I guess, probably underrated her a little bit. I just think she's not that great. I think she can be beaten. But she does have very good grappling. And in a grappling-based fight, I think I have to take a shot in plus 300. I think I have to, Marcel. It's not like Santos is this amazing killer on the feet, you know. I think she's okay on the feet. I don't think she's amazing. And the other thing is, and Glenn brought this up, and I'm going to mention it too, if you look at her record, and I'm not saying that trends are always the most important thing, especially in MMA, but in other sports, when people are breaking down handicapping sports, they look at trends. And if you look at the trend here, she's alternated wins and losses since 2017 for like the last 10 fights. She's due for a win here. It's like Randa Marcos.
Bro. Yeah, well, just Randa Marcos did as well, but she doesn't now anymore. So that's
I know.
Thing,
so listen, obviously this could be the end of that little streak, and I wouldn't be completely shocked because she did lose her last fight. But again, you know, this girl is beating Andrea Lee like she last year. It wasn't even that long ago, really.
She's super tough, man. She's super tough, and then nobody can take that away from her. And I think the thing is, her striking looks so weird sometimes that people are thrown off with how she fights, you know, but she's very good on the ground. We all know that.
Yeah.
And it's not I'm not convinced in my pick with Santos here at all, man. I think if she gets the fight to the ground, she has an advantage there, man. But the thing is, Santos is so strong and all.
Yeah.
I you know, that's why I favor Santos a little bit more because I think she's very strong as well. So, but it's not a disrespect to Roxanne. And actually, it's crazy. The 4 fights she won, I picked against her as well. I think many people did. But I don't see it as a disrespecting. It's just like breaking it down and seeing what you think is going to happen, you know. And it's no disrespect, you know.
Let me get these comments here from you guys. Matt says, wish Roxy get a few Legends fights called in career. Don't see it happening here. Fair enough. No, not really many people do. Glenn likes Roxanne by decision. He's been stuck alternating wins and losses for 4 years. They combined 13 and 14 decisions, 14 UFC fights. I think it probably goes to decision too. I think that's fair. Alger 2 Web at Santos is a beast. Roxanne's a great off her back. She's a top control specialist. I agree with you. Born again. This is coming from someone who's bet on Santos for the last 2 fights, but I got her at such better odds. I'm not getting her at minus 400. I'm just getting her at, she was plus 170 against Santos, against McCann, which was amazing. And then against her last fight against Roberson, I think she was slightly favored, but it wasn't much. that's the thing, you guys. Like, you got to look at that too. You know, I'm not saying you guys aren't, but against Roberson, she was minus 120. So the odds were competitive, but now all of a sudden she's minus 400. So I just think the value's gone, in my opinion. Maybe I'll regret picking Roxanne, but I'm going to take a shot on her in this fight. This is the first time I picked her in the UFC, which is insane because she's won a bunch of fights now. But yeah, we'll see what happens, Marcel. Now let's get to the next fight here. I think we broke this down before. Shamil Abdurrahimov.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to say we broke it down before. Cruzay said it's his favorite heavyweight. He's great. So we'll talk about this fight. Chris Daukaus is the favorite here over Shamil Abdurahimov. Chris Daukaus minus 210, Shamil plus 175. What do you think, Marcel?
Chris Daukaus, by the way, looks like a G with that beard now, man. It looks good on him, man. Beard squad, you know. Chris Daukaus has looked good in the UFC so far. I remember when he got signed, I was like against Parker Porter. I don't know, you know. It was like I kind of listen, man, no disrespect, but I kind of felt like kind of a low tire heavyweight fight there, you know. And he knocked him out first round. Looked very good. Then the Rodrigo Nascimento fight is where he opened my eyes. You know, I was like, wow, he stopped Rodrigo Nascimento within a minute, and I was pretty high on Zeko Meya. So I was kind of surprised with that. Then he stopped Olenek in the first round. Dude is legit, you know. He's a very good fighter. Now fighting Shamil Abdurahimov. They finally found him somewhere. Shamil hasn't fought since 2019. He lost to Blades, you know. Before that, a pretty decent streak with wins over Tibura, Arlovsky, and Sherman. And the Derek Lewis fight, he lost in the fourth round. He was winning until Derek finally mounted him or got in his guard and landed down some punches, and he got stopped. He won the first 3 rounds against Derek Lewis in that main event. Mm-hmm. So Abdurahimov, not a bad fighter at all, but dude is already 40 now, you know. And Chris Daukaus is 31, 9 years age difference. I think that's pretty huge in this fight. Shamil also not very active, like I said, 2019 last fight. Daukaus is pretty active in the UFC. Look good. I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going with Daukaus in this one. I think Daukaus finished him as well, first or second round KO.
Yeah, I mean, I think we broke it down before, but I like Daukaus still. You know, the guy he's a beast, I think, and he's a lot younger, right? That's the thing here. He's so much younger, 8 years younger. So that's a big deal, Marcel, in my opinion. Shamil is not bad. I just think that, you know, he doesn't fight enough. That's the thing. Like, he hasn't fought in 2 years now, and he's 40. The guy's definitely a good wrestler, though. He's definitely a very good wrestler. He does have power. I wouldn't completely count Shamil out of this fight, though, Marcel, because it is a heavyweight fight. And Daukaus has been knocked out before, guys. It's not like he hasn't been. He has. But he has looked much improved lately, obviously. He looked amazing in the UFC. I find it hard not to pick him here. I'm going to. Again, though, it's a heavyweight fight. And we know, Marcel, there's more variance in heavyweight. We know that.
He also has a good ground game as well, you know. So
yeah, no, I think he's a black belt on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jose says, about all the heavyweight prospects, Daukaus took me by surprise the most. I think, honestly, Porter's probably taking me more by surprise. You want to call him a prospect, just because I thought he stunk, but he's really good. I think I knew that Daukaus was pretty good. Santos should be minus 150-ish, in my opinion. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. That's fair. John says, hey, John, what's up? He says, Canelo and Plant just got physical at the presser. Interesting. And that card is on that Canelo Caleb Plant fight, same night as UFC 268. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they would want to do that to the fans. But I remember the last time they were in New York, I want to say they waited till Canelo, like, they waited for, was it Nate Diaz and Masvidal? Remember, they had to wait for that fight to finish before Canelo could walk. He was so pissed off. They're going to do the same thing again. They're going to make him wait for Colby and Usman. I don't know. Anyways, let's go to the next fight here. Nasrat Haqparast and Dan Hooker. So this one, obviously, we know it off the top, guys. This one's kind of in the air right now, but we're going to assume it's going on. Hopefully it does. Right now, we have Dan Hooker, minus 145, plus 125 for Nasrat Haqparast. So close odds, Marcel. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man, let's start with Nasrat Haqparast, man. I still remind when he got signed with the UFC, he was 8-1, and European journalists were complaining about him getting signed because he only fought cans and stacked out wins in the regional scene. I remember that, and I was like, why? You know, do I hate the guy or something? You know, you can be non-biased, you know, but was kind of weird to me, you know.
Yeah.
And then he fought against Marcin Held. I honestly think that was a very close fight, man. He lost a unanimous decision, but it was a very close fight. Then he went to the 3-fight win streak, got a lot of hype with him. Lost to Drew Dober, and then got 2 wins behind each other against Alexander Munoz and Rafa Garcia. Nice fighting Dan Hooker, huge opportunity, I think. Dan Hooker coming off that fight against Michael Chandler where he got knocked out in the first round. For that, had a great scrap with Dustin Poirier. He won that, or he lost that fight, unanimous decision. The Faldo fight, a split decision. I still kind of think he lost that fight, but it was a 50-50 one, so I'm not going to
that was super close. Such a close fight.
I'm not going to complain too much about that one, Thing is, man, the easiest thing to do is to say we're going with Dan Hooker here, but I think Nasrat Haqparast has the potential to win this fight, man. I know many people are very high on Dan Hooker. I always said, and people hate me always for it, Dan Hooker is really a good fighter, but out of somewhere like 2 or 3 years ago, when Dan Hooker got champions as teammates with Volkanovski, with Adesanya, he changed as well, man. First, he was kind of a really nice guy, fighting hard, this and that, and now he's getting mouthy as well. Yeah. But it doesn't suit him, in my opinion, because he doesn't have the quality as Adesanya Volkanovski has, in my opinion. He is tough. I give him that. He's a good fighter. He's top 10. Don't see him really as top 5, to be really honest. Nasrat Haqparast, he's still on the rise, in my opinion. He can win this fight. Does it come a little bit too early for him? I don't know, man. I'm really torn on this fight. I honestly think Nasrat can win this fight, man. It would be a kind of how do you say that? A kind of a bold pick here, an upset, yeah. But I'm gonna do it. I think Nasrat can win this fight. I'm taking Nasrat for a decision, man. I think he can win against Hooker.
Yeah, this is a great fight. I love this fight. And Dan also interviewed, Cole interviewed Dan, I should say, and Dan was saying how, there was no fight until he made the fight. He was harassing Sean Shelby, saying, I want to fight in this card. Give me a fight. And then Nasrat finally stepped up, and he was the guy on Twitter that said, hey, I'll fight you, Dan. Because no one, for some reason, I don't know what happened with Armin, but Armin didn't fight him. I don't know why that fight didn't happen. It doesn't make sense to me. Something happened there. I would have rather seen that fight. Having said that, sure. I think this is a good fight too. And I got to be honest, Marcel, it might surprise you, but I'm actually kind of agreed with you on this one. I'm going to go with Haqparast too. There's a few reasons I'm going with Nasrat. Now, first off, I love Dan Hooker. I have a lot of respect for this guy. I bet on him a lot during his career. He's made me good money as an underdog a lot. But I do think he is, I don't want to say he's on decline because he just lost to Chandler and Poirier. So it's not fair to call him on decline, but he's taking a lot of damage. That is fair to say. He's taking a fucking lot of damage in his fights. I just think the damage adds up. And I think we saw that against Chandler. One punch knocked him out. The fight with Poirier was an absolute fucking war. It was an amazing fight. One of the best fights of last year. Super close. He almost won that fight. He almost beat Dustin Poirier. When you think about it, it's pretty nuts, right? Because now Poirier's by far the number one guy. But a year in MMA, a year in a fighter's life is actually quite a long time. And I think that he took a lot of damage in that fight. And against Chandler, he got KO'd again, Marcel. I don't know. I'm worried about his chin a little bit. I'm not saying Haqparast is insane knockout specialist, but he does have a lot of knockdowns in the UFC. I think almost all of his fights, he has a knockdown in his wins. The loss to Dober obviously got knocked down as well. But even against Held, he knocked him down in the loss there. The guy, he has a lot of power in his hands, good pace on the feet. He's the younger guy. He's a southpaw. I'm going with Haqparast too, Marcel. I think he can win decision. It's a super close fight. And I'm leaning towards the underdog a little bit slight just because of the pace basically on the feet. And I think he's a little better defensively. You look at Dan. Dan absorbs almost 5 strikes a minute. Only 3 for Nasrat. That is a big difference. Let me get these.
It's actually fun. I was completely sure that we are completely different on this.
On this one, well, I'll tell you right now. Cole messaged me and he thought it was crazy, but I mean, listen, Hooker's good. He's taller. He's got nasty limbs. He can knock you with with his knees, his elbows, everything. But again, Haqparast, I think, is pretty solid. Now, I want to get some comments here. Kevin said, how do you factor Nasrat's mom to your picks? I think it's such a hard thing to handicap. I really don't know how to handicap it. She didn't die just today. She died last week, I believe. So he's had a little bit of time to kind of think about it. Because I remember when Jake Shields fought Ellenberger, his dad died, I think, the day before he fought. And he got brutally. He was
always in his corner, right?
Yeah, and he shouldn't have fought that fight, I don't think. I think there's a difference. You got to look at it. So I could be wrong. I mean, maybe it's going to completely screw this guy's head up. I don't know. But I feel like, if anything, it's going to motivate him more. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. Ortega had a good comment. Dan absorbs more because he's fought better strikers. That's true, but he also gets hit so much, man. Again, yeah, you're right. He hasn't fought really good strikers. Just gets hit a lot in his fights. It just worries me. That's all. I got to look for small details, and one of the things I noticed is just his prosperity to stand there and get hit. Now he could get there, he could get hit and then knock out Haqparast still. That's very possible, or submit him even. Like someone else said. Hooker by submission. Very possible because Hooker does have good submissions. I would say he's the better ground game. What was I going to say here? Oh, Born Again says Hooker didn't have his coaches with him for the Chandler fight in Fireland. That's true. Worried for Hooker with the jet lag, dehydration, hack process, travel too. Yeah, for sure. I mean, 3 inches, Tristan, it's a decent advantage for sure on the feet. It's just that I think Hakparas is a little bit better of a boxer, quite frankly, and I think that his pace is higher. So even though Dan has more tools, he's got the knees and the kicks and everything. I just think Hakparas's hands are faster. He's more fluid with the punches. I don't know. What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, but the background also is really you have to take many things in consideration, man, coming into this fight, man. Both guys have their struggles outside the cage right now, you know, and there's a huge story, man, behind this fight as well, you know. So
yeah, it's a very interesting fight.
I think it's a very hard pick here to who's going to win. I know that the consensus pick probably will be Hooker. You know, Hooker is ranked. Hooker fought the better guys and this and kind of that, and I agree with that. You know, but I have a feeling that Hakparas can pull it off, and that's why I'm going with Hakparas.
Sometimes you have to take almost like a shot on a young fighter. In this case, Nasrat's only 26, super young. Yeah, he's super young, and I think he can get better. In a 3-on-5, Hooker's up Poirier and Felder, phase in 4 or 5. Absolutely. I mean, the guy's good, man. He's very good. Dan Hooker's a good fighter. We'll see. This will be an interesting fight, actually. I'm very curious to see what happens. Now, let's go to the next fight here. Merab Dvalishvili against Magic Marlon Morris at bantamweight. The odds for this one, Marcel, minus 260 from Merab, plus 220 from Marlon. I'll just say it right now. I'm surprised that Marlon took this fight, quite frankly. I don't think it's a good fight from the take. He's lost his last 2 by knockout, 3 of his last 4 by knockout. He has been fighting elite competition. Let's give him that. But Merab has been on a roll. He's got 6 straight wins, dominating everyone. I like Merab in this fight, Marcel. I'll just say it right away. I like Merab to win. I think he can grind him out. Only 66% for Moraes on the takedown defense. He's got okay grappling. It's decent, but I don't think it'll be enough to stop Merab. I don't think Merab gets the knockout, though. I mean, some people are saying maybe this is the fight he knocks someone out. I don't think so. I think he'll just wrestle him. What do you think?
I think there's a clause in every UFC fighter's contract. When they lose a fight, the UFC is able to cut you if you don't accept the next fight. You know what I mean? So 2 fights in a row losing for Marlon. Maybe he didn't have the choice to fight Merab here. If you look at Merab, you know, the thing is, people always get pissed off on me about it, but in my opinion, he's still undefeated in the UFC. You know, the Frankie Saenz split decision loss, complete bullshit. He won that fight. I had him 3-0 in that fight, and even Frankie Saenz after the fight said, "I don't know how I won this fight." So the Ricky Simone one, really weird one. You know, I also think that should have been just a decision win and not a technical guillotine choke loss or whatever.
They called it a technical knockout, which makes no sense.
Yeah. Really stupid also. I remember that the referee said like, yeah, but you stayed on the ground. No, dude, he wanted to get up.
Yeah,
and then the commissioner said, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, what the hell? Are you not watching or something? But hey, whatever, you know. He went after a big streak after that, won 4 fights in a row. Cody Stamen fight was good. The Dodson fight. I mean, we know what Merab does. You know, he does a lot of spinning back fists and he tries to get you down to the ground multiple times. The only thing that always I don't think is that good is that he has so many takedowns, because if you got like 20 takedowns, it means the other fighter has stand up 19 times. You know what I mean? So there's a thing as well. Marlon Morris hasn't looked good in his last fights at all, man. He actually did look good in the first round against Henry Cejudo. I think also in the parts of the second, then Cejudo took over. The split decision against Aldo, he won that. In my opinion, didn't won that, but no disrespect to Marlon here, was a close fight. And then the losses to Santhagen and Font, both via TKO or KO. So the thing is, I think Dvalishvili will go for many takedowns again. We'll probably try to win. We'll try to hold him down and get a unanimous decision, do some damage from top. Marlon will stand up again, and Merab will take him down again. That's pretty much what Merab does. If Marlon can't stop the takedown, he's in for a rough night. I think it will be tough. Merab has cardio for 10 days. Yeah. So Marlon has pretty much cardio issues after 1.5 rounds normally. Yeah. So I'm going with Merab here, unanimous decision win.
Yeah, and Marlon's so dangerous in the first round. I mean, you're going to have to sweat the first round for sure, because he can knock out Merab. But I think once that 5 minutes is gone, Marcel, it would be easy fight for him, honestly. John says he thought that Moraes lost the fight with Aldo. I was at that fight, guys, in Vegas. He definitely lost that fight. Crowd booed so loud at that decision. Odds are way too wide. Marlon's super dangerous. Stamen showed Merab's hittable. I agree with that he's hittable. I just think that he's going to win this fight. But I'm very low on Marlon right now. That's what it is, Marcel. You know, I'm high on Merab, but I'm low on Marlon right now. The durability's gone. Like his chin is just gone. But again,
I really like Marlon.
Yeah, he's not fighting a knockout artist in this fight, though. That's the interesting thing. It's just I think Merab the remember when he fought John Dodson last year? He couldn't get him down, but he held him against the fence for 50 minutes. Yeah. I think that's what he'll do here. If you can't get him down, he has the endless gas tank, push him against the fence, keep grinding. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I said last time, man, if I would just want 1 minute of Merab's cardio, man. I mean, I would be great. You know what I mean? It's absolutely insane.
All right, so we got 10 minutes, but we're probably going to go a few minutes over. Not a huge deal. I don't want to go too much over, though. But let's go to this fight now, main card. Cynthia Calvillo against Jessica Andrade. Andrade minus 255, Calvillo plus 215. What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, I think it's a good. The odds are right, man. I mean, Jessica Andrade, she is a tough fighter for every girl. This who is not named Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, she's tough. We all know that. She has some solid striking. Her ground game is good. She is pretty complete, in my opinion, you know. And she will beat a lot of girls in that division, but not Shevchenko. If you look at Calvillo, Calvillo started well in the flyweight division, you know, defeating Jessica, unanimous decision. After that, she didn't do good against Shukagin, in my opinion. I was kind of shocked by that. I thought she would have done better. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's pretty clear. I think Andrade wins this fight, man. Or Calvillo has to heavy wrestle and try to keep her down. But I don't think Andrade lets her do that. So I go with Andrade. Will I go with a finish? Probably not. Unanimous decision, pretty decisive one.
I got to be honest. So my initial thought in this one was, man, the odds seem really high, and I might take a shot on Calvillo here. But then I'm watching her fights again. It's like, he's a decent wrestler, but so is Andrade, man. Andrade is good wrestling, too. And yes, Shevchenko took her down at will, but she'll do that to a lot of people. I went and watched the Daily fight back. Andrade had her way with her on the ground in that fight. So, to me, I think her grappling will probably be good enough to keep this fight standing, and she obviously has an advantage on this feet. We all know that. I just look at the fight like with Calvillo and Caitlin Chukagian, and she could not get Caitlin down, and it's just like, if she can't get Caitlin down, I know Caitlin's got decent takedown defense, but Andrade, she's scrappy, gritty. You know, I know that Calvillo's training in Vegas now. She says she's leveled up. She's 34. She's not a youngster. Like, she's not a prospect. She's 34. I just wonder how much she can actually get better after doing this sport for 10 years. You know, Andrade is also, you know, in that same spot. She's a veteran at this point, but I mean, Andrade is still good, man. She had a close fight with Rose. She loses to Zhang, loses to
she has that nastiness still.
Yeah, she's nasty, nasty power, nasty submissions. I think she wins. Again, I thought the odds seemed high at first, but the more I looked into it, Andrade should win this fight. Kevin says, I love Andrade. I hate Calvillo. I'm worried about her Calvillo finding a sub. Andrade leave her neck in spots, and Calvillo could choke her. Possibly. Glenn says, Calvillo seems to be getting underdeserved push by UFC. She isn't as good as they're telling her as she is. Andrade to win. It's true. Like, remember a few years ago, she fought Carla Esparza. Like, that's when she was supposed to make her big push. Lost that fight. Now she's making it at 125. But again, she got destroyed by Caitlin. Caitlin beat her every round of that fight. What?
The UFC tries to push everybody against.
They try to push everyone. It doesn't work. Andrade, you can't keep killing new contenders. It's true. Morgan says you can see Andrade taking Calvillo down. It's possible. I think she'll just keep it standing and outbox her. Mariah's plus 800 in round one. Listen, if you like those round-specific props, I think that's the way he'd win. I don't see him winning outside the first round. So if you like that, Tristan, that's good odds. I mean, obviously, plus 800.
I agree.
But again, I'm going to pick Merab to win decision. All right, let's go to this fight. Kind of an interesting fight. We got Curtis Blades against Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Curtis Blades, minus 310. Rosenstrike, plus 255. What do you think, man?
That's pretty easy, man. It's either way. Rosenstrike lands a punch and he knocks him out, or Blades holds him down for 3 rounds.
Yep.
And I think the last thing is going to happen, man. I think, Rosenstrike, I love the dude, man. His trainer, amazing as well, Michael Bob. But dude doesn't have a ground game, man. And definitely not a ground game as good as to stand with the guys in the top of the UFC right now. You know, you saw Alistair. He took him down like whenever he wanted it. And Alistair got knocked out in the last minute, in the last seconds, I know. But Blades will have his way on the ground with Rosenstrike, man. He only has to take care that he doesn't get hit, because if he gets hit by Rosenstrike, it can be night for Blades, you know. But I expect Blades to take it smart. Blades needs a win here after his last loss to Derek Lewis to stay in the top 5. I expect Blades to do. Maybe he can even finish him in the first round if he gets him early to the ground. You never know. But I expect Blades to heavy wrestling in this fight. That would be the good approach for him as well to do. And to win a decision, man, 30-27 via decisive wrestling.
There you go. I mean, it's an interesting fight. I think the odds are too high. I got to be honest with you guys. Like, obviously, Blades has the path to victory, but so does Rosenstrike. Here's the thing about Rosenstrike. He's got decent takedown defense. It's not amazing. He's been taken down. Overeem took him down a little bit. Even Junior Albini did. It was a few years ago. But, he can be taken down, but he works to get back up to his feet. Like, he's not an easy guy to take down and hold in the ground. And the thing about Rosenstrike, he has a death punch on the feet, literally a death punch in his hands. He connects on your ear, your chin, you're out cold. Blades coming off a brutal knockout loss in his last fight. I'm assuming he's just going to wrestle. He's going to try his best to wrestle in this fight. If it takes place on the feet, though, I think he's going to be in trouble. Curtis is an amazing wrestler, but his stand-up is, it's getting better, but it's not great. And his chin and his striking defense are not great. I think Rosenstrike much better striker. If he keeps it standing, I think he can win. I'm going to take a shot on Rosenstrike, I think, Marcel, plus 250. I think I might take a shot on him. Maybe the odds are too tempting or something, but I think he can possibly get the job done. And you guys might think I'm nuts, but again, we all thought that Derek Lewis was going to – same thing was going to happen to Derek in the last fight, and he knocked him out in the second round. So, Curtis is good, but one thing I did notice is, Rosenstrike has 6 knockdowns in the UFC, only 1 against. Curtis has only knocked down 1 guy, and he's been knocked down 3 times himself. Only 1 knockdown in like 15 fights. He doesn't have much power in his hands, guys. He can finish on the ground, but on the feet, I don't think he can. I think he's going to be in trouble on the feet. So I'll take a shot on the underdog here. Why not? Just take a shot on the underdog. He is training American Top Team now. I think he could win this fight. Let me get these comments, guys. Morgan says, I could see Blades getting a takedown. Good value on Rose by KO. Blades unable to take down J.S. Lewis. Exactly. I was watching those fights again today, I think. Blades by grapple. Fuck. Very possible. I'll tell you right now, it's either Blades grapples him for 3 rounds or gets knocked out. And that's why I think, because there's a clear path for Rosenstruck, I'll take a shot in the big plus money. Last fight in Curse's contract. I think UFC keeps him. Easy win at PFL money. I don't think they keep him, Alex. If this is true. And Cody says he signed a new 4-fight deal. I'm not 100% sure now, but I think that they might let him go if he didn't sign a deal, just because I don't think Dana White likes his style, personally. But the guy's a great fighter, obviously. So
he absolutely doesn't like his style.
They should keep him around, but UFC doesn't. They don't like Curtis. Big J's here. Hey, Big J says great breakdowns as always. Thanks, man. Rosenstrike's takedown defense got better. ATT gone get him down. Not amazing, but a good sign. Got him down like once or twice at the end of the rounds. That's it. Couldn't hold him down.
Gon didn't really try it. I think
he did try a little. No, dude, he did. Yeah, he did try.
Yeah, but not. He did, but not. He wanted to stand with him as well. He didn't.
Bro, I mean, I'm just saying. Like, I know what you're saying, Marcel, but we do have to look at the numbers because numbers are true. He tried 14 takedowns in that fight against him. Only took him down twice.
I can't even recall. Okay, nice.
I think it was 14. Let me double check. I want to double check. 2 of 14. He went 2 of 14 on takedown attempts. So I know it's hard to remember because all you remember of that fight is it being boring and just kind of both guys just standing there, right? But he did.
Yeah, but take in mind, Blades is a specialist,
Of course, he is. He's amazing.
You know what I mean?
He's amazing.
So, and he was training with Overeem at the time. Overeem was fighting Rosenstruck as well. So that's why I can't see it. That's why.
No, it's interesting. 7-9 Blades finishes came in round 2 might be my bet. That's interesting. Yeah, beats you up, takes you down, smashes you. Dan shit on Blades after Volkov. He doesn't like him because of his style, but the guy's a good fighter, so I'm not going to shit on him. All right, 3 fights left.
It's pretty much the same with what he had with Corey Anderson, right? In the light heavyweight. Yeah. He didn't like Corey either for his style. So yeah.
All right, let's go to the next fight. Here we go, guys. Robbie Lawler, Nick Diaz 2, the rematch. They fought 17 years ago. Give my boy Nick Baldwin some credit. He found that crazy stat.
Shout out.
How fucked is that? 209 months between the first fight and this fight. That is insane. I couldn't believe it when Nick wrote that, but it's true. So that's pretty crazy. By the way, Born against his Blades, a specialist, couldn't take down JS or Lewis Wortham. I'm with Born again. I'm with him on this fight. I think me and him have the same read on this fight. So we're both kind of seeing Blades is, he's good, but he's got some holes. Anyways, let's talk about Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler. This is a really weird fight, but a great fight, obviously. I mean, we both love these guys. How could you be a fan of MMA not like Robbie Lawler and Nick Diaz? I mean, it's a crazy fight, Marcel. Nick hasn't fought in 5 years. Robbie has lost 4 straight fights. First fight in 17 years between these guys. It's insane. And right now we have to pick them off at minus 110. I think that no one has any idea how this fight's going to go. What are you thinking? I'll give my thoughts after you go first.
Yeah, man, this fight, everybody when it was booked was saying, "What?" It's crazy, man. Yeah. Listen, what can you say, Robbie Lawler? He's been very active. You got to say that. 39 years of age, he's been very active. He lost to four in a row, but he's losing to good guys, man. He's losing to Colby Covington, Neil Magny, Rafael Dos Anjos. He also got a loss against Ben Askren, which is questionable. We all know what happened there. For that, win against Cerrone, which was close, I remember. And before that, he was the champion, right? So Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is so an active dude. I know he's always training. He's always doing his stuff. But he hasn't fought since 2015. He hasn't won a fight since 2011. That's 10 years ago, guys. I mean, that's crazy. The thing is, I really like Nick Diaz, man. I really like the guy. He's amazing. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time, to be really honest. But Robbie Lawler is also great. Robbie Lawler is a G. He's absolute. He's. I want to call these guys both legends of the sport, man. In my opinion, I don't mind what
I agree
people
with that.
say. I think these are legends.
Yeah.
And Robbie Lawler, he's been more active. He's with Sanford MMA guys. He's got world-class training partners every day. And this is a 5-round fight. Take that in consideration as well. Diaz cardio is always good, but I can't pick Diaz here, man. 10 years ago, last win. Hasn't fought for almost 6 or 7 years. I don't know exactly. 2015 for 6 years. Got to go with Lawler here. I'm going with a decision. Maybe crazy that I go with a decision here. 5 rounds between these two. But Nick Diaz super tough, man. We all know he's tough to finish. And Nick Diaz probably only gets finished if he gets cut up pretty bad by Robbie Lawler. But I go with a decision win for Lawler here.
Well, okay, so my initial thoughts was, let me get these comments and I'll get my thoughts, guys.
All right.
So Tristan says he's stoked for the fight. Let's go, Nick Diaz Army. There we go. Nick's starting the pay-per-view. I agree, the pay-per-view should do well. Nat says, I know Lawler's cooked against current fighters, but against the dad of Nick Diaz. I think you meant to say the ghost of Nick Diaz. Marcus, he likes Robbie for a bet. He's going to put some money on him. Do you guys think Diaz Lawler will finish? I'm not sure. I think it could go 5 rounds or could finish. It's really hard to tell, honestly. That's something I wouldn't even bother betting on. Robbie's looked so listed since the Askren fight. Who knows what to expect from Nick? True 20 flip. I'm taking Robbie. That's what Kevin said. Glenn says, I'm the only casual not interested in this fight. I think it's going to be awful and want to retire. Hopefully Nick's going to be better. Morgan says, Nick's put out tons of videos of him being drunk and trashed over the years. Not sure how much training he's did in the last 5 years. That's fair. Alex says, Robbie's 1-4 since joining Sanford. That's totally fair. It is 5 rounds, Tristan. We have to mention that. Forward win, MMA, respect, guys. Cheers from Chile. Hey, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Apex says, does the winner get a top 15 opponent? I think so. I think if Nick wins, especially, they'll probably give him someone like really high ranked because I think of that name. So, yeah, it could. And that fight was supposed to happen a few years ago. Okay, so here are my thoughts. Yeah. I love Robbie. I mean, Robbie's a guy I've been on so much in his career, guys. I've made a lot of money. If you guys, I know some of you guys have been following me for like the last 10 years. You remember when I bet on him against Lawler or McDonald both times as an underdog against Johnny Hendricks. Like, I've been on this guy his whole career. I love him. But he's looked awful lately, Marcel. He's lost 4 straight. And arguably he lost against Cerrone too. And arguably lost against Conde too. So he could be on a 7-fight losing streak right now, guys. So you got to look at that too. Just because he's been active doesn't mean he's been doing much. Here's a guy who's taken a shitload of damage in his career. A ton. So much damage. And his number one attribute has been his knockout power. He hasn't knocked anyone down since Conde in 2016. He hasn't knocked anyone out since Rory McDonald in 2015. He has not knocked anyone out in 6 years, guys. So the last time that he knocked someone out, Nick Diaz was basically, that was his last fight against Anderson. Here's the thing with Nick, right? Like, Nick, the last couple fights in the UFC were just really hard fights. He fought Anderson Silva, who's bigger than him, who was a better striker than him. How was he going to win that fight? He fought GSP, who was a bigger, stronger wrestler. How was he going to win that fight? Conde was super close, but Conde was more of a varied striker. He threw in leg kicks. He fought a smart fight. Conde fought the perfect fight that night. And then you look at his other fights in like Strikeforce and Elite XC and everything. Marcel just got through everyone. The pressure, the boxing, it's just so hard to know how he's going to look after this many years away. Yeah. But if he looks anything like he did, even against like Conde, I think he can win this fight. I really do. So yeah, he hasn't fought in 5 years, but he hasn't been taking damage in those 5 years either. That's the one thing I'm thinking about here, Marcel. Maybe he's going to be fresh for this fight. So you guys probably think I'm crazy here. I'm going with Nick Diaz, Marcel. I think he can win this fight. I think he can actually get it done, which is insane I didn't think I was
possible,
I didn't think I was going to pick him, guys. I didn't think so. But the more I was watching their fights again, it's like the pace this guy sets on the feet is so hard to do. It's so hard to catch up with. And I look at that fight with Rafael Dos Anjos and Robbie Lawler. It was basically Robbie getting teed off on the fence for 5 rounds. I think Nick can do this to Robbie too. He can just tee off on him, guys. And again, this is a rare thing for him. I'm picking against Robbie and I'm picking against the Sanford guy. But hey, every fight's different, right? Has anyone in Diaz's camp had a decent record before inside his late? I guess just Nate, although I think he lost his last fight, obviously. Anderson was on steroids. It's true. And Nick was on weed, which is stupid. He got suspended, but
that's also why he's not fighting. It's not he can use it right now, right? In Nevada.
Yeah, so, and Borgen says Lawler towards ACL in round 1 versus RDA. Oh, for sure. I mean, that's fair. And RDA is a tough fight. But again, look at the Neil Magny fight. He wasn't even competitive, guys. Like, he hasn't been competitive. That's the thing. Like, against Askren, he was. I give him that. He should have. I don't think that was a really bad call by Herdine. But again, I'm looking at the Cerrone fight, barely edged that one out. Condit, I don't think he should have. I don't know how he beat Condit. I'm still confused how he won that fight.
I had a very, what do you say that? Very big discussion on that with the other guys from MMA DNA, I remember. Because 2 were like, yeah, Lawler won that. It's like, no, man, Condit clearly won that. It's like, no, you're kidding me. I was like, go away. I was really upset because they say Lawler won. I was like, no, Condit clearly won that fight, man.
Magny, Neil, Russell, Colby, Nick. I think Nick could. I think that's another path for him here because I think he has good wrestling, actually, decent wrestling. We'll see. I mean, how the fuck do I really know, guys? He hasn't fought in 5 years. I'm just taking a guess here. I'm giving my best opinion about it. I think it's a good fight. I know some of you guys aren't looking forward to it. I am.
Me too.
I don't know what to expect, but I'm gonna pick Nick Diaz with the boxing. Get it. Decision or maybe a TKO. I don't know. Decision.
I'm always looking forward to a Nick Diaz fight, man.
So. Of course, who isn't? Okay, we got 2 fights left, guys. We're already over time, but it's not a big deal. I think this next fight we're going to talk about really quickly. Valentina, Shevchenko, and Lauren Murphy. Let's not spend too much time on this one, Marcel. I don't think we need to. Minus 1,500 for Valentina, plus 850 for Lauren Murphy. Here's the question I got to ask you. How does Valentina win? Decision, knockout, or submission, or disqualification? How does she win?
TKO, man, first round.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Lauren Murphy, absolutely not. I think she's amazing. She has done so well to market herself, to get the win she needed to get to the spot. Fully deserved title shot, so no disrespect. But Valentina is just a few levels above all these women under her right now, and I think Valentina tags her in the first round. She goes probably down and she ground and pounds her. That's what I expect. Whatever Murphy does, I mean, if she gets out of the first round and she does better, much credit to her. No disrespect. Again, I really respect Lauren Murphy. I think she's an amazing fighter, but Valentina is just from another level,
Yeah, and Porterkin says the Shevchenko by decision props plus 240. So I looked at the props today. That is a prop I was looking at because Murphy's never been finished. So there's definitely a chance she could go 5 rounds in this fight, but honestly, there's a reason that the TKO props minus 110. I do think that's probably how this fight's going to end once they're getting a knockout. Just the striking level is much. The gap is too big for Murphy to overcome. And I don't think her grappling is good enough to win this fight. She's super tough, but I think she probably does get finished. Although, having said that, if she went to decision, it wouldn't completely shock me. And that's why I do think that prop is something you consider a plus money because, again, you have to lay juice to get TKO. The submission prop's also plus money. I should mention that. So those are probably the 2 ways I would go with this fight. I wouldn't lay juice on the TKO. I even though I'm thinking that's what happens, the value is more on decision or submission. Rob Brown, fight required viewing. Cheers, guys. Hey, Rob, thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. Born Again says Murphy's tough stay come like mine. That's true. Murphy gets tired. She hasn't been 5 for years. I think she's got good cardio, but again, 5 rounds with Valentina is tough. That's tough. Kevin says, I'm licking Dorff to find COVID to save some CTE. That's hilarious, man. That's so mean. Yeah, it's a bad fight for her, but, she wants to fight, and hopefully she shows up, but I think she loses, obviously. All right, let's go to the main event, guys. Last fight to talk about here. Alexander Volkanovski is a minus 170 betting favorite over Brian Ortega, who's plus 150. This fight was supposed to happen back in March. Volk got sick with COVID. The fight got pushed back till now. They obviously coach tough. So let's see what happens this weekend. The main event of UFC 266, Volkanovski Ortega. Marcel, give me your pick for the main event here, man.
So, yeah, this is actually a really intriguing fight, man, in my opinion. This is an amazing fight. Alexander Volkanovski, I mean, dude defeat amazing fighters in his way to this fight. He defeated Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo, Max Holloway twice. Although the second fight, I think Max should have won that one. But, okay, it was a close fight. Not going to complain about it. And, I mean, Man, Twitter, what the hell, man? You guys are so mean about Alexander Volkanovski getting that second win. It's like somebody, like he's killed somebody. You know, I mean, it was a close fight. Don't get so weird up about it, so wired up about it. Brian Ortega, yeah, I mean, Brian Ortega is a specialist on the ground, in my opinion. You know, he's a submission specialist. He's very good. But in his last fight against Chan Sung Jung, he impressed me very much, man. Did so well on the feet. He knocked down the Korean Zombie as well, right? And he looked so good. Such clean striking, very, very solid, man. And you saw people were like, he didn't fall for 2 years. What did he do? Well, he trained a lot, I guess, and he became a much better fighter, a much completer fighter.
Yeah.
And he looked dangerous. If he can bring the same level of dangerousness he brought against Chan Sung Jung, against Alexander Volkanovski, I think Alexander Volkanovski might be in trouble, man. I mean, Volkanovski is good. You know, he's very all-round. But Ortega is a specialist in something, but if Ortega is also now good on the feet, and he defeated the Korean Zombie on the feet as well, and Korean Zombie is one of the best strikers in the division, in my opinion, you know. But he defeated him. We also saw against Max Holloway he didn't look good on the feet, but that is also 3 years ago. Right now, you saw in his last fight he looked much better. Listen, Volkanovski is good, but striking-wise, he's not as good as Max Holloway, in my opinion. As clean as Max Holloway, I should say. I'm taking Ortega on this one, man. I think Ortega is going to become a new champion here. I feel like Volkanovski is good, but I feel like Ortega is a specialist, like I said, on the ground. And if the fight hits the ground, which is going to go, I'm going with Ortega, submission, 3rd or 4th round.
That's interesting. So I got to be honest, this is a crazy fight. And my initial lean was going to be towards Volkanovski. I mean, it makes sense. He's the champ. He beat Holloway twice, right? But it's crazy as it sounds. I'm with Marcel on this one too, guys. This was a crazy one. I'm surprised you picked him, Marcel. I got to be honest. I thought I was going to be alone on this one. I'm going with Brian Ortega as well, guys. I think that he is very dangerous. He is super dangerous on the ground and on the feet. I wouldn't have picked him if I obviously hadn't seen that Korean Zombie fight, but having seen that fight, having seen the evolution, he looked amazing on the feet, Marcel. He looked like he was the best striker in the division. Knocks down Korean Zombie twice. Who does that to the Zombie? No one. So I think that performance alone is enough for me to say, hey, maybe this guy really is the best featherweight in the world. And I'm just talking about the striking here. Let's talk about the ground game. There's no one better on the ground submission-wise than Brian Ortega. His wrestling's not amazing, but his submissions are dangerous. Like he could just grab Volk's neck and choke him out just like that. He's did that so many fights. He's been down in so many fights and came back and just choked the guy out late. It's crazy.
Moicano fight, good example.
Moicano's a moron. He dived in for a takedown to fight he was winning with a minute left. You guys, I watched it again this afternoon. I was watching it. I was like, man, what was he thinking? So it's just, I think that the guy got a lot better during the 2 years off after the Holloway fight. It's like he locked himself in the basement and just trained his ass off with the striking, and he's a lot better now. I don't want to disrespect Volkanovski, though, because he's such an amazing champion, and he did beat Max twice, and he's on a nice win streak. It's just, I think Ortega could be the guy that gives him problems. So I'm going to go with Ortega here, Marcel. It's a crazy pick, but I'm going to do it. Let me get some comments, guys. We're going to get out of here. We're over time now. Matt says he doesn't consider Ortega a real title contender. That's fair, Matt. I think he might be surprised this weekend, though. Do you guys think the layoff will affect Volkanovski? I think it's the same for both guys. I don't really see it being a huge issue. They both were training for that second fight, or that first fight back in March. Morgan says, I can't shake the feeling of Ortega of 2.0 winning. So technical, so patient, sniper stuff. Volk had his chin cracked last time, close fight. I kind of agree. Again, it's crazy, right? But we're thinking it could happen. Kevin's taking Ortega too. There's another guy, Marcel. What the heck's going on here? Volk better know his strengths, avoid any contact with Ortega for 25 minutes. He gets close to him, he's in trouble. I'm close to picking a dog. People overrate Ortega's performance as Zombie. He was a mixture of Zombie not showing up. That's fair too. He looked amazing as Dan Ige. Ortega looks striking, looked clean and slick as anyone in MMA last fight. I thought he looked amazing too. Like I had to watch it again to realize how good he looked. I don't think it was a fluke. I think he's just gotten better at the striking. I think he's in that part of the game. Now I will say this: if he fights Max in a rematch, I think Max beats him probably in the rematch. But every fight's different. MMA math doesn't work, and I think Brian can win this fight. And last question for Tristan: do you guys see Volk getting finished or Ortega winning decision more likely? That is a tough question to ask, honestly. After the Zombie fight, I'm thinking maybe a decision, but if there's a finish here, I would assume it'd be Volk or Ortega getting the finish. Or any thoughts?
Can sub him. Yeah, he can sub him. Of
course. I think it'd be by sub. He could knock him out too. Ortega's gotten better with the feet. Volk's also good in the feet, but I think more likely to be a submission.
I mean, if
that's a tough thing to call, man, honestly.
He maybe knocks him down and he takes a
that's
for example.
the old club and sub, right, that they call it. So yeah, I think it's possible. So I'm surprised, Marcel, that we're on the same page with that one. I'm kind of glad that that's this case. I thought I was going to be alone on an island, but I know I was with a couple other fights here. I think I took 4 underdogs on this card. And I think you took 3 or 4 yourself. So yeah, it's an interesting card, guys. I'm looking forward to it. We're over time here. I got to run to the bathroom, but I do really want to get to Contender Series super quick. We're going to give our picks for tonight. No analysis, unfortunately, guys. I don't have enough time right now, but we'll give her a quickly, Marcel. First fight, Marcel. Jacob Rosales, Victor Martinez. Give you a quick pick for this fight. The odds have Rosales -210, Martinez +175. What do you think?
I'm going with Rosales on this.
Yeah, me too. I think the experience is probably enough to get it done. Next fight, Clinton Rodriguez against Santo Curatolo at 125, and the odds for this one. Rodriguez slight favorite -130, +110 for Curatolo. Any thoughts on this one?
I think will be a close fight, but I'm slightly leaning towards Santo Curatolo because I know more of him.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I think remember that fight 2 weeks ago or whatever with that Carlos Candelario guy with split decision in a flyweight fight? You could see that here. I lean towards Clayton, but I honestly think it's close. Steve Wynn against Theo Relang. This fight, we have Wynn -290, Relang +245. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Steve Wynn. I'm pretty confident in that one. Fortress MMA guy.
Yes. Steve was already on Contender Series. He got knocked out, but he's bounced back. I think he wins too. Yeah. He'll probably get to the UFC. He's a pretty exciting guy. Michael Morales against Nikolai Veretinikov. This guy was a Fury FC champion, and Morales undefeated 11-0. -210 for Nikolai, +175 for Michael. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm also with Veretinikov here, man. He's training with the Kings MMA. He's training with Dariush as well, which is always in his corner. I like Veretinikov here. And
the last fight, we got Hashim Ortega against AJ Dobson. In this fight, the odds actually had Ortega as the favorite, but he missed weight by 4 pounds, and the odds flipped. Now Dobson's the favorite. I actually put in my article out that I thought Dobson could win as an underdog, so now as a favorite, I obviously favor him too. I'm favoring Dobson. What do you think?
Taking Dobson as well. It's a close fight, and it's probably the better if Dobson wins, because Ortega is not going to get a contract.
He can't get signed. Here's the thing I was talking to Marcel about. I was like, they signed a guy coming off a loss, but when's the last time they signed a guy coming off of weight miss? Never, I don't think. Last comment here from Ford Winner made Brian Callander early. Remember this, predict these things. Hey, never know. Marcel, plug yourself. Let's get out of here.
Big Marcel24 on Twitter and Instagram, MMA DNA on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Adam, take it away.
There you go. You guys can follow me on Twitter at MMatterMartin, podcast, MMAOddsBreaker.com, so our YouTube channel, iTunes, Spotify, all those places. Appreciate all the comments, guys, today. I prefer when there's a lot of interaction. It's nice. Prefer, guys. Thank you so much. You guys can also follow me at bjpen.com, mymmanews.com, Elite Sports Betting, and Elite Fantasy. I'll have my breakdown for the DFS side of things and my bets out for Friday. And I'll do the podcast with Duke, 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday over there for the Elite subs. Also check me out at bookies.com, doing a little bit of NFL stuff for them, which is kind of cool, actually. So it's nice to get a little bit of variety here. But you guys know I love MMA, and I can't wait for this card this weekend. So tonight, Dana White's Contender Series, Saturday night, UFC 266. And we'll be back Monday. Peace, guys. Have a great night. Peace.
Yes.
So I pressed end, but it's not ending it. What the hell? I think it's still on. It's weird.
Yeah, it's still on. It's still live.
Oh, man. I don't know what happened here. I